Hey, we're heading to Barsoom. Stick around, I'll tell you about it. Hi, folks. Old Man Grognard here with another review. And today we're going to review something that I have discovered I've reviewed before. But this is a little more thorough review because this was the kind of supplement where I sort of give it kind of a really good review on my original Old Man Grognard channel, but I wanted to do a formal one here because I rediscovered it and reread. This is before I was, into these books, and I want to say it's better than what I thought. What I'm talking about is Warriors of the Red Planet by Night Owl Workshop. This is a 125 page book, and it was written in 2016 by Al Krombach and Thomas Denmark. You've seen me review their things on here too. I love Night Owl Workshop games. They just do a great job. This is what it looks like here. It's about 125 pages, digest size. Good going, guys. I love digest size. Anyway, it's all about doing adventures on what they call the sword and planet genre, which is mostly like Edgar Rice Burroughs and Clark Ashton Smith, things like that. Mars Barsoom thing. It leans heavily on Mars, but they say you can do it with, if you want to make up a planet, kind of like one of Flash Gordon's planets or something like that, you can do that. But this is this has got the John Carter vibe down pat. I mean, you really get a feeling of Barsoom in this. It's a beautiful book too. These guys do great stuff, and it's all based on White Box. It's all based on Sorcerers and Wizardry, pretty much. Sorcerers and Wizardry White Box is their interpretation of the original White Boxes, which means it has things that Swords and Wizardry does, like one saving throw and ascending and descending armor class gives you choice. Anyway, let's take a look at the book. It's pretty much like one column, clear font, tightly done. Beautiful artwork, by the way. The artwork is by, let's see if I can find a name in here. The artwork is by Thomas Denmark, and he did a bang-up job on this thing. Here are some of the different races. You have 4 classes. And one optional one. You have the fighting man, the scoundrel, the mentalist, and the scientist. And the optional one is Sorcerers of the Black Gate, but that's in the appendix. We'll talk about that in a minute. The mentalists kind of take place of the magic users, and they have a full range of mentalist powers they get at certain levels. Same with scientists. What they get are gadgets. I rated this gadget section for my Castles and Crusades game, because I had a crazy gnome inventor in there, and he came up with this stuff for the PCs to field test. But also, you notice there are also different races. Now it kind of splits it, but like I said, I'll get to that later. There's 5 races. There's ancients, the original people who've been around forever. The elevated, I think of it more of like intelligent animals, things like that in plant life. Exotics, they're like one-off characters with different things, like see a guy here, 4 arms, may have horns on their head, do something, whatever. They may even have special powers, I don't know. Humans, of course, and the unliving, which are not undead, they're just unliving. They may have been corpses or something like that, brought back to life through sorcerer's means or mechanical means, some kind of weird science. Or it could be something that didn't really live at all at first. And I'm not, that covers like flesh golems and things, but it also covers like homunculi and things made in vats, things like that. And those are the kind of races you can play. Here's one of the classes, the scoundrels. And there's also special abilities for every class. This is the typical scoundrel thief type. Might be a Conan type. Fighting men are more straight up fighters. of the John Carter. This is more of a Conan type where they're fighter thieves. Here's the equipment section, part of the equipment section anyway. Gives you an idea. There are swords and guns as per the genre. Flying ships, things like that, skimmers, you know the whole 9 yards. They do a really good job. Here's some of the mentalist powers. I love that, mind bullets. They do a really good job of trying to get the game master to convey the feel of a Sword and Planet type adventure like this, because it's fantasy with, there are so many other genres that can fit into this, but they do a really good job of trying to get you to do the grandeur and the majesty of like the lost civilizations. There's a lot of lost civilizations and ruins on Mars and other planets. Here's part of the bestiary. Bestiary is going to get a lot of use out of me because you can use that in anything. You can use that in, you can use this in this. I can use this in D&D. Astonishing Swordsman and Sorcerers of Hyperborea, especially post-apocalyptic, mutant future, gamma world, you name it, it'll fit. Now, here are the appendixes. These are the races of Mars. These, I kind of think, are not really split from the game, but it's almost like you have what I showed you, the races, but then you have the races of Mars. Now, there's no reason why you can't use both, but some people just use either one or the other because, like this is a real Barsoomian type of thing. This game. Of course, they got the random tables. I'm glad they got the random adventure generator in here, because if they can't put like a sample adventure like they did in Guardians and Raiders of the Lost Artifacts, they put the tables in here, which is good, because then I could just roll my own and just go on from there. Because a lot of these, well, I'll explain it for a minute. And this is the optional class I was talking about, Sorcerers of the Black Gate. Now, this is sorcery raw. This is sorcery dangerous. These guys are twisted, evil, crazy SOBs. And you can actually play them as a class, but it's one of those things where, you mess with things you don't understand, you're going to, it's going to come back and bite you. Because they do have like a chart on here for like random mutations and things will happen if you blow the spells and things like that. They also have on here a skill system, which wasn't really a skill system. Like I said, I'll go into this. They also have ship-to-ship combat, which is derivative of, if you know freebooters, it's just in the atmosphere rather than on the sea. It does the same thing, the real simple stuff. Now, when I talk about skills, it's not really skills. It's more like, you want your character to have the skill. Okay, let's relate it. Okay, how would that, what stat roll would that entail, type of thing. It's more like giving the GM ideas for skills and giving the players, okay, you have these skills, but we're going to tie them to a stat, and we're going to use the stat for that. But it's almost a I don't want to say gimme, but it's almost a oh yeah, I have not tying skill. Okay, that's dexterity roll, dexterity roll. You don't really get any pluses or anything with it, but it's there. Now, as a GM, I might give a plus or two if you're trying to do something that's related to your skill. That's the way I like to roll with skills. It doesn't have to be a formal skill system, although I can work with those if they're simple enough. But if it has something to do with just negotiating between the GM and the player, that's the way I want to roll. Because I think that every character should have something they can do pertaining to the life they did before they started adventuring. But at the same time, I don't want it to dominate. So this is a nice compromise. It's very simple. It reminds me of Tunnels and Trolls. They also give you a nice map of Mars in the back. No character sheet, but I can probably extrapolate from this. It's a really, really good read. This one, I sat down. What happened was, I was at North Texas RPG Con, and there go the lights again. And I was at North Texas RPG Con, and I got a copy of this because all I had before was the PDF. And that's what I reviewed it on the PDF on the other channel, Old Man Grognard. But I bought this and I just sat down. Okay, we're going to read this cover to cover because before I just like skimmed it. Oh, this is really neat. I can pull stuff out of it. Yes, you can pull stuff out of it, but man, oh man, it's got weird science tables in here, which I love. All kinds of weird science gadgets and things. The bestiary itself, the bestiary itself, is worth the price. It really is, and it really gives a sense. This kind of thing, I started reading this last night, and it's almost like it grabbed me by the shirt front and said, "Play me." You know, it filled my head with such interesting ideas. The Races of Mars appendix is great because it gives the different colors of Mars plus the hue of Martians, plus you got the red Martians, the green Martians, the yellow Martians, the white Martians, the black Martians, and humans. Then that's why I said they're not really telling you to split it off from what they gave you in the races at the beginning, but you could actually blend this. But some people want to play just one or the other, just to simplify. The color of the Races of Mars kind of gives it a little bit of a Carcosan feel to it. I mean, you could do other things with this. I mean, this could be a poor man's Star Wars right here. Okay, because you got, say you're stuck on Tatooine or someplace like that. Use this. You can come up with all sorts of alien critters with this, or use the ones in the book. It has a post-apocalyptic vibe. Use it in Gamma World. Use it in Mutant Future. Use it in, you know, whatever, you know, post-apocalyptic thing floats your boat. Or straight science fiction. I mean, guys can land on this on like Mars and stuff and interact with the locals and see what happens. It also gives a nice feel of things like the societies and the cities and the underground. The underground is like the whole thing unto itself. You know, there's caves and things like that. And after this, I read about Barsoom on Wikipedia, and I was going, wow, they really nailed it. I mean, they nailed this game, even down to the point where, like, red Martians who live over 1,000 years, they basically go into a cave and follow this river to the promised land. More like they die. So, and that was there. Ship combat sounds a lot of fun. I mean, look at these ships. They're cool, aren't they? Are these just the skimmer types? You know, every ship has hit points, and you do it as a battle, a regular encounter, combat. Only, you know, every time it's the ship's turn, the crew moves. They do something, or the first of all the guy flies, and then the crew do something. Anyway, it's a very simple thing. Warriors of the Red Planet. Go get this. You can find it at DriveThruRPG or RPG Now. The PDF is $9.99, well worth it. The softcover is $15, and both is $24.99. If you just want the print version, Lulu has it for $15. Also, I would recommend both. I always recommend both, but Warriors of the Red Planet, get this. This is fantastic. As is all Night Owl Workshop games. The only one I haven't gotten is Colonial Troopers. I guess if somebody sent me a copy, I would review it, but it's just not my cup of tea. But then again, I've reviewed stuff that's not my cup of tea before, and I've given them fair shakes, and I can always find something good in every game. That's my motto. That's my mantra, actually. I can find something good to use in every game. If not the whole game itself, there's something in there something or things I can pull out of there to use in my own stuff. So that's my review. Tell me about this thing at oldmangrognard@gmail.com. And so we'll have more next time. And so until next time, bye-bye.